Hi everybody and welcome back to Taking Sides. I'm Saxon Zack alongside Zach Borland. And guess what?
We have breaking news!
The Pirates stud right-hander Gerrit Cole is going to get his right elbow examined later this week. He'll be missing his next start, which is scheduled for Monday night against Jake Arrieta and the Cubs at Wrigley Field. So that might spell some bad news for the Buccos, Zach.
Yeah, Gerrit Cole obviously has not been himself this season. He has a 7-9 record, an ERA above 3.5, so that's not the ace-type figures that we've been used to seeing from Gerrit Cole the past couple of seasons. But nonetheless, having your ace future stud of your rotation, this isn't good news at all. And automatically, when you hear elbow concerns or issues, or going to doctors, you're thinking Tommy John right away. At least I am. So this isn't an easy situation to take in if you're a Pirates fan at all.
Well, the good news is the Pirates do have a lot of depth at the starting rotation. They've had a lot of young guys make starts for them. I've kind of lost track on how many new faces we've seen this year.
There's too many.
There's too many.
Which is a good thing.
Yeah, it's nice to have the options there. I know we had Stephen Brault, who didn't do too bad, the left-hander. Then you had Chad Cole's been up here for a little while now.
He's been pitching well.
Tyone seems to be kind of the main go-to guy because, like you were saying, Gerrit Cole hasn't been himself, so he wasn't even being the, quote, ace that we all thought he was. So maybe this will... If this can correct Gerrit Cole and get him back on track and get him to the pitcher that we all know he can be, then maybe this is actually better for the Pirates in the long run.
And honestly, the season this year doesn't look very bright for the Pirates. They're right around the 500 mark. They've got a couple of teams that they would have to jump in order to make the postseason as a wild card team. So if they have to shut them down for the rest of the season, it's not the end of the world. It's not like they're looking at a World Series run, in all honesty, this season.
Yeah. Well, the Steelers were in action, right, last night?
That's right. The Steelers pulled out a victory, a 27-14 victory over the Saints in New Orleans. The first-team offense looked really sharp, 2 touchdowns on 2 drives.
Yeah, Ben Roethlisberger wasted no time starting off the first drive. It was kind of a methodical drive. They went no huddle. They only ran the ball, I believe, once or twice. And they ended up with on a 3rd down and goal. He hit Jesse James for the touchdown. And on the second drive, it was a quick strike to Antonio Brown on a 3rd down and 3. Hit Antonio Brown streaking up the left side. And he badly beat the corner. So those two look like they're in midseason form. They didn't play more than those 2 drives, and I think that's pretty telling. So September 12th can't get here fast enough. Let's just skip this final week of the preseason.
Exactly, and like you said, this was the first game that Brown and Roethlisberger and Bell played just to keep them, safe from any injury concerns. And last night they came away pretty clean. There were a couple guys that had a couple of injuries. Marcus Gilbert hyperextended his right elbow. And Cam Hayward had a high ankle sprain, and he looks to be ready for the season opener. So
that's what he's telling me.
That's what he's telling people.
Yeah.
We don't know for sure. We can just hope for the best. But as far as the Steelers are concerned, next week against Carolina, as to quote you,
let's just skip the game.
Just skip the game, or wrap them all in bubble wrap. Don't even dress the first team offense.
They shouldn't dress even second teamers, in my opinion, because that close to the season, if a guy even just sprains his ankle like Cam did, they're probably not going to be ready for week 1 against the Skins. So I would just play guys that aren't going to make the team. I mean, it sounds bad, but these preseason games are completely worthless. And evidence, again, with Cam Hayward and Marcus Gilbert getting banged up, they're getting hurt for no good reason. It doesn't do any good to play these games. I understand that the young guys want an opportunity to prove themselves and make the roster, but with this team especially, there's not a whole lot of wiggle room. The lineup's pretty much set.
Exactly. And like you said, the purpose of the preseason is to figure out the last couple of roster spots. So next week against Carolina, I wouldn't expect any first-teamers to play, even if they play a series.
We might see a lot of Bryn Renner, the new signing.
And if you don't know who that is, look him up, and there's a reason for
He used to be a Raven, so, I mean, at least he's wearing the black and gold now.
Exactly. And then this coming weekend, we have college football starting off. And
Thank goodness.
Yeah, and you're excited about that, Saxon.
Yeah,
Pitt plays Villanova. Penn State plays Kent State. So it's going to be an exciting weekend.
Yep, Penn State, with James Franklin at the helm. They have a new quarterback with Christian Hackenberg going to the NFL. Trace McSorley was just named the starter last week. He looks to be, I guess, completely 180 from the style that Hackenberg was. They're going to be running a pretty entertaining offense, I think, at Penn State this year, so I'm excited to get that underway. And on the Pitt side, I mean, James Conner, you can't beat that story coming back from his battle with lymphoma, so I hope the Heinz Field is pretty much a packed place when he takes the field on Saturday against Nova. But they should be an interesting team this year as well. And those two actually meet up. Pitt and Penn State play in Week 2 at Heinz Field for the first time in quite some time. I know in my lifetime I haven't been able to watch those two schools square off, so it should be an interesting game, and to renew the rivalry will be a great thing.
Absolutely. You're just going to have that in-state rivalry, that atmosphere. It's basically a playoff game that's not a playoff game between two schools that are bitter rivals.
And I know we should probably take some bets on how many Penn State fans will actually be there. I know the Pitt athletic director basically said, "Oh, there won't be more than 10%." But I'm going to go out on a limb and say it'll probably be 50-50 because there's a lot of Penn State fans in this area, and I mean Pitt's attendance numbers are pretty awful to begin with, no matter who's coaching or who's playing. So there's pretty good likelihood, I think, that Penn State will match the fan base at Pitt.
And we know many people that we graduated from college or from high school, that went to Penn State and follow Penn State football religiously, so I wouldn't be surprised by that either.
All right, well, I think that's it for this week. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll talk to you next time.